Salams and peace, y'all. It's your favorite hijabi, ASMABEEME. This is my very first video, but make sure you like, share, and also click that subscribe button for more content from me. Let's get into it and tell you all the details on how I, as an American, randomly left America with a newly remote job and went to UK. And why? I know so many people want to know why. So let's get into it. Always been a fan of travel. I love travel. I love the sun. I had only been to Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago prior to this whole new venture thing that I came up with in my head, right? Okay, so hear me out. I would say like 2021, 2022, my group of women were in Georgia because my family's from Georgia, or family is living in Georgia now, but we're from Philly. So I was staying there at the time. This is after the C word had happened. So I was down there. So my group of women had changed or whatever. And these women that I were hanging out with, two in particular, shout out to y'all, I ain't gonna say their names. One was a little older and one was a little younger. Both of them were very learned, like in travel. So the older one, she is a professor, but she travels the world and does different contracts. And she's been almost everywhere, right? And then the younger one, she was married to a speaker who traveled a lot, so she would travel with him. So they would always come together and we'd be sitting and they talk about these traveling stories, and I'm like, dang. All right, so I have a passport. I do have a passport. It expired. I haven't been anywhere. In my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm the Muslim girl. I don't want to travel by myself. I don't want to go anywhere on my own. I mean, I do, but then I kind of don't. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I'm scared. I'm nervous. I've never really been anywhere. Again, only those 2 islands, and I went with other people that I knew. But I was definitely tired of listening to everyone telling me to wait, but not giving me alternative, like, okay, wait, and then we'll go at such and such time. It was just me always waiting on other people. And it's like, how long am I going to wait before I start to experience and living life, right? So it's kind of crazy how it went down. But so these 2 women happened to come into my life 2020, 2021, 2022. So the stories of travel was like all around me. I was like loving every single piece of it. And on top of that, what I got to learn from them is they both had different experience. But what I realized is that it was possible to travel as a woman and on my own and me not dying or something crazy happening to me. You know how people always throw out the craziest things that potentially happen if you go somewhere. And it's like, I'm not really a scary person like that, but I had always been trying to be cautious because the thought of going somewhere and doing it on my own prior to sitting with them so long and hearing all their stories, I was kind of nervous about the idea of it. But sitting with them, God put me with them, and I love the fact that he did, because it kind of made it seem more normal in my mind to just go ahead and pick up and travel and try it out, right? So fast forward, I wound up getting a phone call from a temp agency. I had worked for the temp agency in the past, but they had called about a banking position, but it was work from home. Banking that's not my experience at all, but I think they may have saw that I had work from home experience. I'm not going to lie to you. I have worked from home different types of ways, running businesses and working with companies for over 6 years. So I'm very comfortable with staying in the house and minding my business and not going outside and not have to drive and not have to be in a hustle or bustle and not have to pay extra gas, all that stuff. So I was excited about that. But the banking thing, I was kind of like, okay, I'm not really sure what to do with that because my background is in healthcare and administration. So I'm like, all right, but it's going to allow me to stay home. So I just went ahead and took it, right? So in the midst of me thinking about it, I was already on the fence because I was thinking about going back to school for something. And I'm going to tell you guys probably about that in another video, but let's just stay focused. But I decided to go back to school. So I came to Philly and I did CCP for a semester because I was working on prerequisites, right? So I had missed, what wound up happening is I completed my prerequisites, but then there was a class that I had purchased separately, like to do online to get credits for. but I didn't finish it in time. So I needed a particular time frame to get everything done in order for me to move to the next step by the next semester. I missed that. So I was like, okay, the program that I'm interested in going into, they only offer it once a year. It doesn't roll around twice or more than that. So if I miss the deadline, I have to wait till the next year. I was automatically annoyed about that, right? But I was happy I completed my prerequisites by the end of December of 2023. So that was good. But I'm like, I'm not interested in being in Philadelphia. I don't care about going back to Georgia. It's fine. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, something was calling me saying, just go to the UK. I'm not gonna lie, I was interested in going because it's very much still city life. It's very much still people who speak English, so I don't have to adjust to anything. I'm a hijabi. There's plenty of hijabis there. There's plenty of halal food, so I won't get lost. So I'm like, all right, let me just go for it. What do I got to lose? And I had my passport. It had just came January 2023. So I'm like, I'm gonna shoot for the stars, and I'm going to be working this work from home job, and I'm gonna see how long and how far it carries me. Okay. So I'm not gonna lie, I did not tell the job that I went overseas. I didn't tell them that. But let's stay focused here. What I did is I had got a VPN and I wound up working that way. Boom. I'll share the information for the VPN in the links in the description. But anyway, fast forwarding. How I prepped, because I wrote this stuff down. How I prepped, I had run it. So okay, here's another thing. UK is not set up. You should be prepared that every country is going to be different. Because mind you, I was doing my homework. I'm not going to lie to you. In the moment that I realized I had missed my deadline, like I started my semester in September to do my prerequisites. I missed the deadline by, I believe, October, November. So I knew by that point that I was going to have to wait till the next year if I was going to do this program at CCP. So I'm like, all right. Once I knew that, I started rapping in my brain and talking to myself like, all right, I'm going to go somewhere. I'm going to leave and I'm going to take the job, right? So the first thing I thought about is, where am I going to stay? I started to Google and I started to dig to try to figure out what was my housing and living arrangements going to be, right? So I'm like, okay, UK, their GBP is more than USA money. Let's just get straight to that. So the cost of living is going to be higher. What was I thinking, right? But let's stay focused. I was excited about the culture, the Muslim life, like the Muslim culture, the city culture, the food. That was enough for me. So, and then I love the accent, the British accent. Again, we can talk about that in another video, but here we go. So what I realized immediately is that when you're looking for housing, you're not going to be able to do it over the phone in UK. They don't have too many companies where you can just go ahead and click and check out, like an Airbnb or something similar to that that's outside of those type of platforms. They don't really offer that. You have to meet someone, you have to see someone, and then me coming in as like a visitor and not an actual citizen, it's a little bit more complicated. I knew that I was going to be there for at least a couple months because Americans are able to go to the UK and stay there for up to 6 months as a visitor. Okay, you're up to 6 months as a visitor. So I knew I would at least be there for a couple months. I didn't know if I was going to be there for the whole 6. I was just trying it out and seeing how I was going to feel about it, because again, I'm not going to stay nowhere that I don't want to be. So it was really going to be about, once I get there, how it felt and what was the vibes, right? Also too, want to keep in mind, I had purchased a ticket in January, and after the holidays, the prices go down. So guess how much my one-way ticket to UK was? Like $400. I was impressed because you can look at other parts of the year where people are traveling more, and it can be like $1,000 or more. I got my ticket for $400, and no, it was not on JetBlue or nothing like that. So that was nice. I got the ticket for $400. I was looking for places to stay. Once I realized that I was not going to be able to like sign a lease, like I feel like in America you can get a lease and potentially sign it or do a quick sublet easily. Like we have a lot of technological stuff that allows it to be easier. There, that's not the case. So I knew, let me go to London, get settled in. Like once I get on the ground, then I can start meeting up with people to potentially get a longer term housing. But for the moment, at least let me get in and lock something in for at least the first month that I'm there. Okay. So I did book on Airbnb. It was a really, 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 really cute posh spot as well. It was very expensive, I'm not gonna lie. When I first started this journey, I was spending a lot of money. It hadn't hit me that UK and US, the money don't add up, but it's in reverse. Like in most places, you go to the other country and your money is long as an American, but in UK the money was hitting. It was a little short. So I was bougie in the beginning. So hear me out. Let's talk about this. I was very bougie in the initial stages of going into UK because I'm like, listen, I'm posh. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to be, get my British accent on and all that. So I stayed in a very posh spot. I was in Islington, North London when I first started. The place was like, when you convert the money, it was 2,200. Could I have found something cheaper? Probably. But in my mind, I was thinking, listen, I want to be comfortable. I don't know how this place is going to go. And then I also need to be in a spot that is going to be suitable for me to be able to function and use my Wi-Fi and the VPN. Yeah, because I still had to work. Yeah, we're going to get into that in a second. So the people were really, really nice. They were very accommodating before I even got there. It continued to be that same way. Shout out to them. I really, really do appreciate it. And I'll actually put a link for what company I used when I first got there. Really, really nice company. So next thing, once I got there, so they are about 4 to 5 hours depending on their daylight savings time. They're ahead of us in time. So I thought about it, but I didn't really dig too deep on it because I was going to do it regardless. My hours for work for the remote banking job was 8 to 5. So that wound up converting to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 to 10. So when I first got there, I really didn't get a chance to venture out that much, but it wasn't the worst case because it was also in January and it was cold. It's kind of snowy, so it wasn't too bad. But when I first got in, I was really only able to hang out in the morning time or before 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. or late at night at 10 p.m. So my first month, I kind of chilled out. I was mostly in the house and I was just praying to God that the VPN would keep checking out. Like I stayed on edge because I didn't know even going into UK if my computer situation was going to work out with the job. But thank God it did. Alhamdulillah. I was there for the first place for a month in Islington. And I explored. I ate for sure. The first thing I did was get some halal food. The first spot that I went to was a halal Jamaican spot because there's only one spot that I know of in Philly that has halal Jamaican food. But other than that, I didn't know of any. So I was so excited. That was like the first thing I told myself I was going to eat when I got there. It wasn't that good. And they microwave everything. It's not fresh. Anyway, everything was mostly work the first month. The other thing is that what I realized, I thought through the first month and I knew that I was going to be renting again somewhere else for another month because that's how I started in increments of a month. And I had told myself I didn't want to just stay in one area because I wanted to literally take a look at as much of London as possible. So every time I moved per month, I went to another spot. Yeah, it sounded really good as an adventurer because that's what I am. I love to explore. For the experience, it was good, but I had four suitcase bags and 1 duffel bag. And so very quickly, after maybe this 3rd or 4th move, I was tired. I was trying to figure out like if this is the plan, but I stayed a lot of places. I won't lie to you. I stayed, let's how we started out. I started out in North London. Then I went to Northwest London And by that time, Ramadan was setting in, 2024 Ramadan. Guess what I did? I took the computer from Northwest London and went to Turkey. I went to Turkey. I was literally doing these like working this bank situation, and the adhan would be calling like for the different salats while I was in Turkey. And sometimes I would be on the phone. So I'm like, do they hear me in the background? Do they think it's like an alarm? Okay, it's not funny. But I was living my best life. What I will say is that Turkey, your money is a little long. So I was living somewhat like a queen. Again, I wasn't really going out very much because my hours. So Turkey is further ahead in time than London. So I was actually, I was starting work at probably like, I think it was like 3 p.m. when I was in Turkey. And then it ended at 12 p.m. Mind you, I was fasting as well. Keep this in mind. So my time that I went when I was in Turkey, when I would hang out and venture out and stuff, was anytime before 3, or I know this sounds bad. You can haram police me later, but I was hungry. It was Ramadan. I was fasting. So when I would be breaking my fast, I would still be working. And then by the time 12 a.m. hit, I would go get a snack. My favorite snack, and while I was in Turkey, was the stuffed mussels with rice, midye dolmas. Those are very, 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 very good. And also, people were eating them like 5 at a time. I think it's like a snack for them. And then, you know, you put the lemon juice over, and then I would add the sriracha hot sauce. Oh my God. I ate that almost every day, I'm not gonna lie. And they would serve them fresh, chilled, but they are cooked. They're not raw. They were very, 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 very good. I saw people eating like 5 of them at a time. I would buy like 20 and they were only like $3 maybe. So I was having a good old time. I was having a good time. But again, I couldn't do anything later than 3 p.m. or it would have to be after 12 a.m. So my venturing out, I had to stick to a schedule because I had to work at the same time to cover everything that I had going on. Boom. So what I wound up staying in Turkey in probably like a month and a half. I did. Mostly because I was dreading going back to UK and having to pay the housing prices, the rental prices for the month, like how I had done the first month paying $2,200. I was nervous about it. I was like, oh my God, do I really want to? Because in Turkey, I was spending maybe $150 a week where I was at. So $150, so that winds up being what, $600? $600. And then also too, I got that from off of Airbnb for the month and a half. But after probably like, maybe after like 2 or 3 weeks that I realized, 'cause I didn't know how long I was going to be there for. I was really, this whole traveling thing was going off of how I felt, which shows me that like you really can go anywhere you want. It's always great to be well prepared, but you can literally go anywhere. It's really not that hard. I mean, we make up a lot of excuses, but you see how I was moving, and I was just basing it off of how I felt. I mean, again, I had the job, so it wasn't like I was, you know, I was able to work and still have money and, you know, enjoy the time and have fun. But, okay, what I will say is always be prepared. Always be prepared for something to mess up. Be prepared and have some extra money, a cushion. Also, just don't take a leap and not know nothing about what you're doing. I had a little bit of idea. Would I lie and say I had a lot? No. But you don't necessarily have to be like me, because I'm going to tell you, you know, what went wrong, what didn't go wrong. Don't necessarily be like me. I'm the adventurer. I'm the guinea pig. I've always kind of been like the guinea that tried everything out and then tell everybody else about how it worked out later. That's me. So I'm okay with that. If you're not and you're a little bit more scary, I maybe plan it out better.